Hey, power couples. Welcome back to the Empire Behind Closed Doors podcast. It's me, Chester, and Tracy, back for another episode.
Episode 3.
Oh, yes, let me mention that. Episode 3.
And we are going to try and navigate through this with as minimal damage as possible. And I'm just going to start us off with a question for Chester. Chester, do you believe that opposites attract?
Yes, I do believe that opposites attract.
Why?
I don't know. To me, when I get that question asked, I always think about like a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
You know how the pieces fit together.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether it's the pieces are two complete opposites, when you put it together, it just completes itself.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get asked that question, or when I think about do opposites attract, that's the first thing that comes to mind. But my explanation to that is, I feel like I can, one person can be that, I don't know, that missing piece in their relationship that the other can't provide, and then vice versa. I don't know, that's just kind of my thinking of it.
Yeah, putting the pieces together to see the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Similar to your idea of opposites attract, but it's more like, I guess my idea is more energy based, like masculine versus feminine energies.
Okay.
I feel like both energies are very much necessary for a relationship to not grow but last.
Yeah.
Because they balance each other out, right? So I mean, you see the opposites more, or well, I won't say more, but you see the opposites a lot, where you have like two feminine energies, or you have two masculine energies, and the clashing that constantly have, like the battle of who's going to be more masculine.
alpha.
Yeah, who's going to be the alpha
leader,
right?
yeah.
Whereas if you have one partner in that particular role, obviously things work out a lot smoother.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's less of a combative situation.
Yeah.
And more of a collaborative situation. I know just from experience, like, I've always been put in situations where I'm like constantly combative, where, I don't know, just me growing up as aspiring to be that independent woman that could stand on her own, I could never let down that masculine energy.
Yeah.
And so getting into relationships where I never stepped out of it caused a lot of problems. And then also, like, realizing, of course not realizing that until it was too late, but I realized how much I needed a masculine energy for me to step into my softness, into my nurturing side, because for so long I've been the one to have to be the provider and the nurturer. Yeah, and clearly that didn't work. So yeah, just over experience, I'm realizing how it is so necessary to have the two energies to balance each other out. Of course, these are totally different from having things in common with your partner. Like, you can have a lot of things in common with the person that you're bonding with, like favorite foods, things that just kind of help make that bond initially. But to deepen it, you have to have those differences to balance each other out.
Yeah.
And have a more solid foundation. Because if your entire relationship is just on your likenesses, it's not a very firm foundation. Yeah. It's very surface. And then once you go beyond that, you're realizing that it's not matching well together. That can definitely lead to disaster. for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But how would you say, like, like, how would you imagine that it working for our situation where we're, two aspiring, well, aspiring, but new business owners starting to build our empire or quietly building our empire, how this would work for us?
I think, you talk about how, two alpha minded or two alpha leaders are not going to work, right? But I think, like, as a power couple, I think that's what's needed. I feel like, you know, having two alpha minded people and two alpha leaders going into a business, I feel like that's probably the best thing that could happen. Just having that same desire, that same drive, that determination to be successful. I think that'll work well for us.
That's true.
But in for our relationship, in getting into that, like, I think we're headed in the right direction.
Okay.
Like, I think we're gonna be pretty successful in what we do, just because everything that we do pretty much align with each other. And our end goal, our future, and whatever we have going for us, like, it's all leading in that direction.
Yeah. And as far as, like, how our different strengths help support one another, like, I know for me, your masculine energy, your alpha energy definitely helps back me to feel more confident in what I can provide. Because this is all new to me, so a lot of times I just need that firm backing, like, you've been equipped with all the tools and the skill sets you need to make this happen. You just got to push through the imposter syndrome, the self-doubt, you won't know until you try type of push.
Yeah.
And I know for you, like, whenever you're feeling exhausted or maybe, I wouldn't say burned out, but, like, just, the disappointments that come along with, just building a practice.
Yeah.
I feel like I've noticed that, just my nurturing, my softness also helps, like, kind of fuel you to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly fit to support one another. Like, even though it's two totally different approaches, I feel like it's the perfect amount
Yeah.
to keep each other going.
Yeah.
Like, I agree that, us being, like, two alphas running a business together is very much necessary. I think it's good to get things started.
Yeah.
But as far as nurturing and continuing the momentum, our opposites is what continues to fuel us and to keep us engaged and locked in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Before we end on it, though, like, I was just thinking, like, for me, like, I feel like with the whole masculinity thing, I just want to talk about, like, how I would be and how I am, even of today, how I grow up, having that masculinity and having that role in our relationship.
Right.
Like, I just want to, with all the responsibilities, you talked about earlier, how you're just kind of trying to get used to that, right? And, like, I just kind of want to talk about how in our relationship that I want to be the provider. I want to be the one to take care of all the things, all the responsibilities. That way you can, like you mentioned earlier, get into your femininity side, right? So I want you to be able to take care of other things that you need to and not worry about, like, the bills or making sure that we have everything we need in the house or things like that. So I just wanted to say, like, I grew up knowing about the whole traditional way of, man of the household or head of the household kind of thing. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit.
And I think it's very important that we've had that discussion going into this relationship, because not everybody agrees with the traditional values, but for me, I also agree that's the type of household I wanted to nurture and to grow. Following the traditional values in a sense where, like you said, you're the head of the household and I'm the oh gosh, what's the word? I don't want to say manager, but like my responsibility, my role is to manage the household, and then we're just kind of adding on to it when we're, taking on this venture of like starting our own businesses and stuff. So, doing the same thing where, you're the provider, you're the investor, you're, the decision maker on a lot of things, and I'm in support of that. So again, I know it's not going to be the same with every couple or every relationship, but having the discussions in the beginning of the expectation is very much necessary too.
The hard
because
discussions.
like I said, I grew up very wanting to be the independent woman, like being able to provide for myself and stuff like that. But if I'm wanting to get into a strong relationship that that I want to last, I knew for me, I needed to learn to step into the feminine energy, the soft light, that soft light.
Soft.
But yeah, basically, pretty much. But just allowing myself to release that masculine energy of constantly needing to protect myself, and allowing you to do what you do best, and that's just to be you. And and I think that works perfectly for what we have and what we want, for the future. So like, to support that, like, how do you feel routines and rituals help support our dynamic, our roles in our relationship?
I think we're pretty much on the same page with that too, in terms of our routines. I feel like, having that discipline and, building those habits together and being on the same page with pretty much everything that we do, it just works out. Like, say for example, like, just gonna give like an example of our morning routine, right? We get up, we go to the gym, we come back, have our coffee, and then we do our miracle morning. Like, get that out of the way, and then we start our day that way.
Right.
And I feel like, doing that first thing in the morning just, gets us started the right way, gets us ahead of everybody else, not just here where we are, but pretty much around the world.
Yeah.
Getting that head start. But I feel like even the night before, preparing ourselves, that's part of our routine, is the night before, planning our day ahead. And I feel like implementing that into our everyday life and into our business, like you said, growing into our business and nurturing, all that stuff is all going to build up, and everything else that we do, we will build that routine to make us more successful.
For sure. Building that discipline, definitely. But as far as like, it's funny because we do the exact same ritual routine together, and it still fuels us both, like in our own respective way. Like, just being able to, like, kind of, I don't want to say morning pump with the first thing being like going to the gym, and feeling that masculine energy in you. But it's like, we also get to feed the I guess the feminine energy in me when we do our miracle morning, and that includes the savers, thanks Hala Rod again, but the what is it, silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, scribing. So I love that, how our morning routines fuels us both to be able to set us both up for success for the day. Even though we're fulfilling like some similar responsibilities, but a lot more than often not very different responsibilities.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, like what you were saying, like having the perfect night routine definitely ensures a successful morning routine. And when you have a successful morning routine, then it sets you up for a really productive day. So yeah, I love that, how you agree that, you know, how all of these rituals and routines that we have established over, you know, this much time has definitely helped in not only our relationship, but also in our businesses. And it's funny because honestly, our business, these ideas for our businesses would have never even come to surface unless we had we not established these routines. Because it was during these conversations, these, you know, these quiet moments, these reflections, visualizations, that's when we realized like how much we wanted to do this. And it helped us realize in what way we wanted to grow. And it's crazy because like never had I imagined that I would ever aspire to become a life coach. I think I've mentioned it before, but it's amazing to me how much growth we've made in such a little time just doing these routines. Like I'm just now starting to read this book, Atomic Habits. Yeah. And it's true, like how like just building small habits lead to enormous things. Like it's crazy how that works. And I'm still reading the book, but like just the preface of it, it blows my mind, like where we've started and where we've gone just a short amount of time. But you know, I know a lot of the rituals and routines that we've established are fairly new to you. So what are some major things that you've taken away from our routine?
I was just gonna talk about that in terms of, you know, doing our miracle morning routine every morning and, you know, planning the night before. Like one takeaway, the biggest takeaway actually, is the reason why we're doing all this now is because all the planning, everything that we're doing, it gives us more time. And we always talk about, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we don't have enough time to do anything. Like even if we plan the day ahead, like, you know, and get everything done, like there's so much things left to do. So, but then, you know, with our planning the day before or the night before, I think it, you know, it helps us to build a perfect picture for what we're expecting for the day.
Right.
And it's pretty much just going down by the hour and just checking everything off. And like you mentioned, it's so productive because we get so much things done.
Right.
So my biggest takeaway is with the routine and the rituals that we do now and the habits that we're building, like it allows us for more time.
Right.
Like, you know, waking up at 4 o'clock every morning and going to the gym, getting that out the way, like, and coming back, and like, you know, we're just hours ahead of schedule.
Right.
And then we're literally like, all right, what do we do next? Like, what's next on the schedule? What's next on the timeline? And then we kind of just go from there. I mean, our biggest thing in life is always time. Like I'm pretty sure everybody says we don't have time, but I think it's just more of, you know, getting your priorities straight.
For sure.
And then just kind of going from there, making sure that you make time for yourself. Like, you know, you can still get, you know, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. You can still work 40 hours a week, you know, and still make time. Like there's just so much time, but at the end of the day, you have to be the one to do that for yourself.
What are some useful practices or useful tips you could give to someone who's trying to find more time?
Useful tips? I mean, to me, it just comes down to planning, and then obviously, once you do that, I guess to go into more detail, time blocking. I guess I know that's something that I learned from you. The time blocking, and then and then I don't know. I've learned a lot from you, honestly. And then mind dumping, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, brain dumping,
Brain
mind
dumping,
dumping.
mind
Yeah.
dumping, where you know now like I used to always to me I've always had so much things on my mind. I had so much ideas in my head, and I always just kept it in my head. Like I never wrote anything down, and but now I do. Because of you, I'm able to brain dump. I'm able to write everything down in my planner or in my notebook, and just be like, all right, cool. I got to do this, this, and that. And then then I go down to time blocking, or yeah, time blocking, and I fit that into my day, of how I can maximize my time. So I guess my advice or my tip is to mind dump at the end of the day, and then while you're planning, time block, do do that, like, and then write everything down. I don't know if for most people, but for me, I feel like I'm more in the type of writing everything down and being able to visualize everything,
Right.
and then I see the bigger picture, right? And so I think just building those little habits, and then just being disciplined about everything else, that is, I guess that is a tip or advice that I would give somebody who's trying to find more time. Because once you do that, like, you'll see exactly where you have free time, or where you can incorporate anything else that you want to do.
Right.
Like, you'll see the gaps in anything that you want to do. So yeah.
Um, I guess the one of the best tips or practices we've built since over the last couple months is meal prepping.
Yeah.
That's been saving a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I hate, okay, so fun knowledge about Chester and I, neither one of us cook or want to cook. I mean, Chester can definitely cook more than I can. I'm really good at breakfast food, but neither one of us want to cook. Like, that's just not a thing that fuels either of us. I don't know. It does not excite us. So meal prepping, or having a subscription that's just automated, and that's like one less thing that we have to worry about. Like, I love
Yeah.
that. I love finding areas that does not fuel us, and finding a way to automate that system, so that's one less thing that's occupying brain space.
Thank you factor.
Thank you factor. If you guys don't have a system in place and that's something you like hate thinking about, highly recommend automating it with some sort of service, like whether it be Factor or however it makes you feel less stressed.
Yeah. I mean,
Also,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, you're just talking about, time and how somebody can save time.
Yeah,
That's another way, right? Because with Factor, whether you do it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, like, you always get it the same day every week.
Yep.
And it's pretty much Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
You get a whole meal, and all you really need to do, and it's fresh.
yeah.
So you pretty much put it in the microwave, and it's like a legit meal. Like,
By the way, we are not at all sponsored by Factor. We're just
yeah,
we're just strong enthusiasts of the system.
of how it works for us.
Yeah.
Like, literally, people take, hours cooking. Even if we had to
Literally.
meal prep for the week, like,
You're not even talking about just cooking. You're also talking about going grocery shopping, planning, and all the time that it takes to prep a meal. Like, people do not think that it's much, but for people who don't like to cook or don't feel thrilled in cooking, it's a lot. And we literally spend like maybe 20 minutes a week just thinking about food simply because we're just trying to pick our meals online. It's about 20 minutes a week.
That'll save you a lot of time.
It's so much time saved. So if there's
Yeah.
anything that you don't like doing or do not enjoy doing, but you have to get it done, find a friggin' way to automate it.
Yeah.
And then there already you've saved yourself like however many hours in a week.
Yeah.
And you know, like what else has been helping us a lot, which we're actually due for again, is our quarterly family meeting.
Yeah.
So basically what we've been doing is at the end of every quarter and at the end of the year, we do a quarterly meeting where we first, let me rewind. At the end of every year, we plan our goals for the whole year, for the new year, right? So,
Can you talk about exactly?
yeah,
what
so we actually
goals we
started
have?
this, we started this like last summer. So it's been like almost a year ago when we started this practice where we just started writing out goals. And then we started breaking it down by month. And then kind of lumping them together by quarter. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
And so when it came to the end of 2024, we started, okay, well, let's just cast out for the whole year. Like, what do we want to accomplish for the whole year? And we broke it down into our priorities. So we have like personal goals, fitness goals, family goals, finance goals, and travel goals. And we kind of wrote down a long list of things we wanted to accomplish in the year, and then we kind of mapped it out by quarter.
Yeah.
And so now, to keep us in check, we meet at the end of every quarter to kind of just check off like what we've accomplished.
Kind of like a review.
Yeah, and how it worked for us. And then we also reviewed what we didn't accomplish and why it didn't. Like what failed us or whatever. Yeah. And so that's been very useful. And then also keeping us in check for what's coming up. And like figuring out if anything needs tweaking too. Like
Which we've already done.
Yeah. Yeah. And so at home we have this big whiteboard that's right smack dab in the middle of the living room, well, right in front of our dining table. And so we literally look at it every morning as we're doing our morning ritual, and we're just kind of like, ooh, what's coming up? Okay, we're falling behind here, but we're on the right track here. We need to pick up here. Oh, we need to remember to buy tickets for that concert in July. But like, yeah, so us just, holding each other accountable, I feel like, our and also like these are goals set by, fueled by what we find important to ourselves and like personally and for our relationship, and then also for our business. So
which we're adding to now.
Yeah, I love that, our, like, your strength is, okay, we need to get this done now, and my flaw is like, oh, we still have time. It's funny, but I don't know how it works. Like, it's just amazing how it works out for us. I don't know. We just balance our crazy. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all of this wrapped up in, like, holding our prayers and everything. That definitely also helps. So, my people, do what you want with that.
That's a lot of good advice, a lot of good strategic ways to build within, not just like in your businesses, or pretty much whatever you have going on in life. I call it, and I want to call it the vision board, but I think you called it like a roadmap.
We called it like it was either a blueprint.
Oh, there we go. That's what we're using. The
roadmap.
Blueprint. I like that. I like the blueprint.
It's
better.
our family blueprint.
Family blueprint. But yeah.
Just for the year. And it's a beautiful thing, because then also, like, at the end of the year, we can look back and see all the things we've accomplished within the year.
Yeah.
Like even just up until now, I feel like we've accomplished a lot already.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we crossed off for sure.
Yeah, we got a lot of check marks. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But it's awesome to see that growth we've made together. Yeah. And if it wasn't for our opposites, our strengths and our weaknesses, I feel like that's what's gotten us to here, through the good and the bad.
Definitely.
So what would you say is your takeaway from this episode, Chester?
I think the biggest takeaway that I have would definitely come down to our family blueprint. Family blueprint. No, I take that back. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with our, our routines. The way we do things, the way we plan. I think that's my biggest takeaway. Just because it gives us so much more time to do everything else.
Right.
Gives us a head start on the day, and just gives us more energy to start the day, to pretty much go throughout the day. Like, it just, I don't know. It just releases a lot of uncertainty when we plan the night ahead, and being able to wake up in the morning and seeing our whole plan just come together.
Right. And what we're capable of accomplishing.
Like, just having such a productive day is amazing.
Right.
And even at the end of the day, once you completed everything, like, I don't feel tired. Like, I feel like I can still do a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it definitely helps out, our whole routine throughout the day and the things that we do to get us through the day. It all starts with a good morning.
It's very rewarding, for sure. And I just like how our differences, like, not only fuels our desire to, like, continue to grow, but it also feels like the passion in our relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, it nurtures, like, our bond. And it's amazing how us doing simple things together, like just going to the gym every morning together, also helps nourish that bond.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen it before, and I'm pretty sure, like, our audience has seen, like, these couples that gym together and they make dates out of it and stuff like that. We used to joke that we would date at the gym, but it does, like, I don't know, it just brings that fun playfulness out of us, and so it helps in, like, building that it nurtures that love that we have for each other, like just being able to do things like that together.
Just the simple things.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be extravagant. I guess that's the best part.
This is something that we both enjoy. And that's pretty much the most important thing about it.
For sure.
What is your biggest takeaway out of this episode?
Out of this episode? I love that I love that our likeness, like the things that we have in common, are just so funny to just think about. Like, I love that we have so much in common, but I also am very grateful and love our differences. Like, I love that I can count on you, and I feel safe with you, that I know that you're going to have my back, and not just have my back, but you're going to, like, deliver as the provider, as the head of the household. And I trust that you'll lead us to where we want to be. And I feel like you make a really great leader. And then just being able to live in that role of being of support and to nurture and fuel like your ambitions and everything. Like I'm I don't know, I just feel really proud to be in a relationship that I've always wanted, you know, where it's a good balance of I don't even know what to call it. I guess savage mode and the sacred silence. I don't know. You're the yin to my yang. You're my equal amount of crazy. And it works for us. So, all right, power couples. Hope you got something from that.
I mean, I guess that's the way we're going to end that one.
Yeah.
On that note.
Yeah. Just, you know, lean into your strengths and, you know, embrace your weaknesses, because if you're in a good relationship, you'll be able to fill the gaps and accomplish a lot together.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, you got to have those hard conversations with each other. Mm-hmm. I think that's a very important thing to do.
Here's Chester's plug on communication again.
Man, you know where that was going. Yeah. Communication is key. That's the number one thing
Chester's gonna
to
bring
get
it
through.
in every time.
Everything in life is communication.
It's true, though. It is true, though.
It is.
And this is why we're having this podcast.
Yeah.
To share and communicate.
And communicate to those who need it.
Exactly. All right. Well, we forgot to talk about what we're grateful for. I kind of did, so it's your turn.
No, I kind of did that too.
You did? What did you say you were grateful for?
About our routines, about our morning routines.
Oh, that was your takeaway.
That was my takeaway, and what I'm grateful for, because it leads, you know, I mean, if you didn't get it, but I'm grateful for that, because, you know, being able to do our morning routine and giving us more time, it gives us more time together. It gives us more time to figure out what we can do. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. We've accomplished a lot, but we still got a lot.
Still got a lot to go.
Yeah.
I mean, half the year is over.
Ahead of us.
But we still got room for growth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sky's the limit right now.
Yeah.
The potential is there.
Mm-hmm.
We pretty much just gotta work hard. Don't quit. Keep going.
Put a little grind into it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll all be worth it, my friends.
Mm-hmm. Sure will.
Well, if you've lasted up until this point, congrats, you made it to the end of the episode.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to our babble. If you enjoyed what you heard today, share it with your friends. And also subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode next week, where we will dive into whatever nonsense we come up with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right, guys, until next time, have a great week. Bye.
Bye.